my lovelies, and welcome to my BookTube channel, The Sassy Library Fox. My name is V, and today we're going to talk about all the books I read in December. Well, to say all the books is rather making it bigger than it was, because quite honestly I only managed to read 3 books in December. I didn't have a lot of time to read. I think the first book I finished in December was already in the middle of the month, and yeah, I even finished one on the 31st, pretty close to midnight, so that I would have at least 3 books to talk about. And as you can probably already tell, I was very busy in December. December is always one of those months everyone thinks will be nice and calm and the time before Christmas, but I don't know about you, for me it's always very stressful. I have more stress at work than ever, and yeah, this time around our kid got ill as well, so 1 week before Christmas we had a sick kid at home, which wasn't very perfect, but then again, at least it was before Christmas and not during Christmas, so there's that, I guess. Anyway, enough of that. I didn't have a lot of time to read anything. We were busy visiting family during the holidays, so yeah, it is the way it is. I only managed to read 3 books in December, but hey, at least I read some, right? Right. Please tell me that this is okay. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get my coffee at the ready, my cheat sheets, and take a sip here. You won't see that on the video, but outside it's really snowy. There's so much snow. I'm kind of afraid to go out there today. Maybe, if I'm good, I will be able to make a short video to show you all the snow that's coming down here, but it's unusually cold in Austria. We didn't have such a cold January for ages. We even had snow on Christmas, and we didn't have that since 2007. Yeah, anyway, enough of that. Let's head to the wrap up and talk about the 3 books I managed to actually read. It wasn't much, but it were 3 books at least, and they all got pretty okay ratings, great to okay ratings. So the first book I finished in December was Snowflakes and Paper Stars by Thomas Baker, and this was actually a short story of about 41 pages. I rated it with 4 paws because it was really such a nice and lovely short story. We have Eloise, and Eloise is in London during the days to Christmas, or yeah, holiday season you might say. And she's just visiting for a week and finds an artist, a musician in Covent Garden named Aria, and Aria makes really nice music, and the people love to listen to her and just stay in their tracks just to listen to her music. And Eloise is very well, you might say struck by Aria's music, and they start to talk, and then they meet up during the couple of days Eloise is in London. And it's a very sweet, tender, but also bittersweet short love story. It only plays over the course of a couple of days, so I really like that their relationship developed slowly despite the short time they had, and that they really took time to get to know each other, to talk to each other. I mean, there's only so much you can convey in 41 pages, but I think the author did a really good job at building that magical feeling around Christmas and those 2 girls getting to know each other, and the ending was very bittersweet, but I thought it was pretty fitting. So yeah, I rated it 4 paws, and it was a really lovely and nice short story to read before Christmas. It got me in the Christmas spirit, at least a little bit. Okay, next one is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. And I have thoughts on that one. I know I'm probably one of the super unpopular opinions ever. I don't know, everyone I heard talking about this book, everyone raved about this series, so I decided I would want to read it. It was packed as, well, some sort of mixture of the Hunger Games and Red Queen. I gotta be real and I gotta be honest here. It's nice when publishers use other series to describe a series. But quite honestly, if you've read the Red Queen series and if you've read the Hunger Games, you won't stumble upon a new discovery here. I have yet to come across a review of a person that actually read both series before reading Powerless, but my take on this, and it's quite a hot take, is that I've read all of this before. I mean, yeah, let's just dive into the plot. We have Payton Gray, and Payton is an ordinary, and in this world people are divided in ordinaries and in elites. The elites have superpowers and the ordinaries have no power whatsoever. And whenever an ordinary is discovered, they are basically chased off the land and are sent into a desert to die there. So of course the people that are ordinaries are hiding in plain sight and decided to go for powers that might be hard to track or that can be very volatile and not steady powers, and nothing you might see obviously. So we have Payton, and Payton is an ordinary. Her father was killed by the former king, and ever since that day Payton has a grudge against the government. Not to mention that she's also an ordinary and has no superpowers. She is claiming she is a psychic and therefore can read people's thoughts and minds. She just learned to read people's appearances pretty well and draws her conclusions from that. She's like some sort of Sherlock Holmes in that regard. It helped her to stay alive throughout all those years. What happens? One day Payton saves Prince Kai. Unintentionally, she thought he was a poor bugger that was robbed, so she just defended him and saved him from someone that wanted to kill him. And then there are those trials, and those trials are more or less a deadly Hunger Games kind of thing. And of course Payton has to take part in them because the public is very curious about her after she saved the crown prince, just the prince, because the crown prince is Kid, Kai's brother, and Kai is supposed to be the enforcer. So the person that can take every power that is in his vicinity and use it for his advantage. And Kid is the brother who was, decided to become king. And yeah, if you've read Red Queen and if you've read the Hunger Games, you basically know how the story might unfold. We have two brothers, we have one brother that seems to be nicer than the other, but there's a strong chemistry with the one character. It's all strongly Mare, Barrow and Cal and Maven coded, let's say it like that. I was not surprised about the ending. The book's saving grace were that the last 30% were suspenseful. I personally, I really had a hard time picking up this book. It had about 500, I don't know, whatever pages, but I had a really hard time picking this book up because I had the feeling I knew the plot already and I knew where it was going. There was so much easy banter, and Kai and Peyton are both in that competition, and they have so much easy banter going on, and it's just the book basically lived from that, and there was not a lot of substance to the plot and everything around that. So yeah, I had a hard time reading this one. I rated it with 3 paws, but I think I might not pick up the second book, because if it's anything like The Hunger Games and Red Queen, I might just use the little time I have left to read books that will actually surprise me and will give me that wow moment. I mean, I had that wow moment with The Hunger Games and with Red Queen, but yeah, there were just, for me personally, there were too many similarities, which made it easy to predict the plot, and that just wasn't my kind of cup of tea. I know people, or a lot of people, that didn't read the other 2 series might totally enjoy that one, because for them it will be something new. But unfortunately, I'm the generation that grew up with The Hunger Games and with Red Queen. So yeah, that won't work for me as a series, I think. So I don't know if you've read this book, and if you've continued to read the series, and if you've read The Hunger Games and Red Queen. Please let me know if you enjoyed the series overall, if you enjoyed the second book, because I'm so undecided if I want to continue with the series. So yeah, it would be nice to get some feedback here from people that actually read the entire series and read all the other series as well. So if you did, please write it down in the comments and let me know if it's worth continuing the series. Because if not, then yeah, I just won't proceed with reading it. As sad as it is, I know this series has a lot of fans and is really one of those hyped series that was really hyped those last couple of years, but yeah, it's just not for me. I'm sorry. Okay, from that, let's take another sip and go to the last book I managed to read in December. And it's kind of funny because we went full circle here. I started to read that book in January 2025 and I finally finished it in December 2025. Yeah, it took me almost an entire year to pick up this book and to actually read it, because I knew it would have topics that would rile me. And the book I'm talking about is The Spirit Bares Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. I knew there would be difficult topics. I rated it 5 paws in the end, even though it took me a year to pick it up. But it's just, it was written so well. We have all those serious topics. Once again, we have a trans mask main character. And it was just, Andrew Joseph White has some sort of knack for addressing political topics and making them hit really hard. I mean, in this book we have Silas, and Silas is a boy in the body of a girl, and unfortunately for him, he lives in some sort of Victorian society where women that have violet eyes are prizes for men. So Silas has violet eyes, the body of a woman, but he is a man. And he doesn't want to get married and be one of those speaker wives, basically men, old men at that marry violet-eyed girls just so that they can have more violet-eyed men in their line, because the typical thing here is, I mean, we were talking Victorian era kind of style here. Of course, women are the weaker sex. And of course, it would be best if the powers to see with those violet eyes, girls with those violet eyes, can see beyond the veil and can talk to spirits. And they can open the veil. So of course it would be best if women don't ever touch those powers and let the men do the work. And of course it would be best if those violet-eyed women are used to breed violet-eyed men so that they can continue to have their power. You notice my sarcasm here. I really, alone that setting, alone the fact that the society in this book worked like that made me so mad. And then we have a boy like Silas, who is a boy, who is interested in becoming a doctor, and he just can't be because he has violet eyes and everyone sees him as a girl. Yeah, enough reason to grind my teeth. And of course he botches a wedding attempt and then is brought to some sort of asylum / finishing school where he is supposed to learn some manners and to be the obedient wife they want for their man. Well, of course this doesn't go down very well because Silas is a boy and he would raise hell before he is going to marry someone. Well, and then there are those other girls at the school, and those girls, yeah, some of them want to get better and others that weren't brainwashed enough just want to get out of there. And some of the girls vanished into thin air and no one knows what happened to them. But then they start to talk to Silas, and turns out there's something going really wrong at that school and that it's very deadly for some of the girls. So yeah, the injustice in this book made me really so angry. The setting made me angry. Everything about this book made me raise that queer rage, but that's typical Andrew Joseph White. And thankfully I was finally in the mindset to be able to read a book like that. It took me an entire year, as I already said, because those topics always hit hard and make me very angry. But yeah, 5 paws it is. I really liked the ending in this one. It was a solid, well-rounded, full circle kind of ending, you might say. And yeah, Silas as a character was amazing. I just loved that boy so much, really, seriously. I only wanted the best for him. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. My thoughts and feelings about this book and all the heavy topics it tackled. I really need to be in the right mindset to read an Andrew Joseph White book. Let's see when I will be able to read the next one. Yeah, so much for that. Those were the 3 books I read and finished in December. They were all very different in their own way, from queer rage to short story and to hyped book. But yeah, Powerless, not everything was bad, but not everything was great either. So yeah, there's that to say. Anyway, I said enough. I think I would love to hear your opinions about those 3 books, if you've read them, if you didn't. If you want to just put in a short story that plays around Christmas, I can really highly recommend the first book I talked about. I would love to hear what you read in December, if you had more time to read than I did. I'm pretty certain you probably had more time. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And I guess now we are already at the ending of my video and there's nothing left to say except of take care, stay healthy and safe, and see you around the next time. Bye!